Bitcoin is close to becoming worthless.
Let's go. Now, what's the Bitcoin?
Bitcoin's like rat poison.
Yeah. Oh,
The greatest scam in history.
let's get it.
Bitcoin will go to fucking zero.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Bitcoin Brief, the show where me and QnA catch up every 2 weeks to talk about Bitcoin, privacy, open source, keeping your Bitcoin secure, and the news and software updates that matter. I just wanted to say a massive thank you to everyone who's been supporting Ungovernable Misfits, and a big thank you to Foundation Devices for supporting the show. If you haven't already checked them out, go to foundation.xyz. They make the best hardware in the space. It's the best build quality. It's fully open source. They have an incredible team, and the UX is piss easy. They make cypherpunk tools for fuckwits, and anyone can use this, even me. If you have any questions or you want to reach out, feel free and I'll be happy to go through things with you. For anything super technical, I'll pass you on to Q. Enjoy the show. Oh, before you do that, if you want to buy one of these incredible passports, use the code Ungovernable. It will get you a discount and it will let them know that I'm shilling. Enjoy the show. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are we doing today?
I am fucked, sir. How about you?
Yeah, QnA definitely not dead. Very much more sprightly than the last time we recorded, and it appears that you may have caught the plague.
Yeah, absolutely fucked. Aching, feeble creature snuffling away with 3 pods to record today, so it's good.
John's in for a treat, is he?
John's always in for a treat.
You haven't even got the fact that you work 48 hours per day anymore, now that you're not doing your fiat job. So do you think your immune system's weakening now that you're not leaving the house as much?
Just soft, mate, I reckon.
More time in the gym required?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not going to be going for a few days now.
It sounds like it's for the best.
It's upping these shows as well, because we're doing more. I don't know how much more content we're pumping out, at least another 2 or 3 episodes a month at the moment. So that's keeping me busy. And as soon as the kids see that I'm not literally out of the house, there are things that are wanted.
Like toilet paper.
I spent fucking all of Saturday going to IKEA, buying 1 billion shelves and just putting them up as high as possible around the house, in every spot that a shelf could be, so that anything that could be low level, like anything that's counter level, is now accessible completely. If you put anything there, you're fucked. All the cupboards are accessible, and even though we put the magnetic opening latch things that you have to go and get the magnet off the fridge, then take it over to put it on a certain part of the cupboard and then open it, they've worked that out. My plan is just I've put everything up about 5 foot up on shelves the whole way around the house so that they cannot fuck it up. So that was my Saturday job, just putting 1 billion shelves up.
Yeah, I've very much been through some similar scenarios. Yeah, it doesn't take them long to work out how to get into those kitchen cupboards, does it?
Oh, they're like, I might have said this already, but have you seen that Jurassic Park, the first one, where there's the Velociraptor is trying to get into the kitchen and they lock themselves in the kitchen, and then it like taps on the glass and it slowly starts working out how to open the door. It like pulls the handle down and you're like, oh, it's going to get them. That's literally what my kids are like. They're like fucking little velociraptors. Just watch you and then and work it out.
That's a great analogy, that toddlers are just snotty velociraptors.
Yeah, just come in, just cause carnage.
Yeah, eat your toilet paper, draw on your walls. In other news, I don't know if it's just me, but I'm finding Twitter really annoying at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether they've stepped up or changed the algorithm, or what it is, but it seems as though like all I ever see on there now is like America politics or houses somewhere in the Middle East getting bombed or somebody hating on some, the Jews did this, or, this is all Palestine's problem, or Israel's great. And I'm just fucking sick of it. I'm sure
It's
I could
horrible.
probably do a lot of muting and things like that to kind of bar all of that out. But Jesus Christ, just using the app like in its natural form. You click on one video and Twitter's like, oh, hey, you like seeing people die, do you? Well, look what I've got for you.
Yeah, it is horrible. One thing that makes it slightly better, and I have to keep changing, it's like it, no matter how many times you change it, it changes it back, is change it to the following rather than the for you section right up at the top. I've just gone on it now just to see. So I've got one of this whatever American politician woman, I can't remember her name, saying something. I've got Florida Coast, load of shit going on there. Trump. I've got some bitch with a massive owl. I don't know what that's about. I've got some... Oh, actually, that's Amber Heard. She's quite hot cosplay. Anime character. That's not bad. More American. It's just bullshit all the time.
Yeah, non-stop. It seems like it's absolutely relentless at the moment. So, yeah, just wanted to vent, and maybe I just need to do some work on my muting. I feel like if I muted the words Israel, Palestine, and Trump, my timeline would just be a complete ghost town.
Yeah, I did that back in the COVID days with like COVID and vaccine and like all the stuff because I just like I can't actually see any more of this fucking shit.
Yeah.
So I did all the muting. I might do that, but also I'm trying to lean into my Nostra a little bit more. Don't know if you've seen. I tried yesterday and just like fucked 3 up in a row.
I didn't notice that. Why? What did you do?
I tried to do a tweet saying like send us a message, and I made some artwork with like a little ostrich at the bottom by a phone. Then the first time I like did the tweet but forgot to add the picture. I was like, for fuck's sake, I can't delete it because it's Nostra. So I was like, all right, try again. And then I copied and pasted what I'd written and then added the little ostrich. And then even though I copied and pasted it, for some reason, your little Q&A thing was no longer a link. It was just text. So it wasn't actually atting you or like having you in there. I have no idea why. I was like, fucking hell. So then I put like take 3 or whatever and then did it the third time. And it worked. So yeah, been leaning into that.
Nice. Yeah, good to see. Yeah, even if you are tripling your tweet count.
Yeah.
Okay, any other AOE for myself? Oh, quick PSA. The Foundation Telegram, we've moved to I think you call it a topics-based group nowadays. So rather than having like multiple different Telegram groups where we had the main channel where most of the chat is, we had one for the beta testers. We wanted to spin up some more, maybe for like the ambassadors and things like that. And we just thought this is getting a bit messy. So we've just brought them all under the umbrella, much like we do for this show. Obviously, it's not a public one, so people won't know what we're talking about. But so if you see like the formatting change, just know that there is still a general chat. Keep all of your main questions and comments in there. But we're going to be kind of growing that community and separating out different products and stuff as time goes on.
Nice.
What about you, mate? What's been going on? What have you been breaking?
Funny you asked that question because I actually have been back on the breaking train.
Uh-oh.
I fucked my Start 9.
Oh.
So I have spent a lot of time in their Telegram channels trying to fix it, reading guides, ordering parts, fucking around, staying up late, and achieved nothing. What I wanted to do was take my current laptop, which is running as my server, which had 1 terabyte of storage, and upgrade it to 2 terabyte because I was really, really close to the limit. And I wanted to run my Monero node on the same one because you can do that on the Start 9 as well. So I was originally thinking I'll run that on a separate machine. I thought, no, come on, let's just put 2 terabyte on there, run both. Job's a good one. Read through the guides, ordered the parts, looked how to take the laptop apart, what to do, put the 2 terabyte in there, took the 1 terabyte out, kept that to a side. I had my backups all done. I was like, right, okay, why don't I now use my backup? Because I thought the backup would be like everything. I thought like backup, you're backing up what is on the server. Not so. everything comes up and I'm like, oh, brilliant. Everything's working. But then everything was stopped. And I was like, oh, okay. Bitcoin stopped. Oh, I wonder why that is. Start. And then it's like downloading blockchain. I'm like, what the fuck? I've already got all this. This is what my backup is. It isn't.
Mm-hmm.
The backup just does like, I imagine your
apps.
apps, maybe your channel states or whatever stuff. I was like, for fuck's sake. So then I did a load more reading and I was like, well, the thing is, I've got my 1 terabyte, which I took out, which has all my stuff on. So why don't I just do like this thing where I move it all across? Because that seems to be an option as well. Can't do that. Don't have the adapter. Fine. I'll buy an adapter. Bought the adapter, put the NVMe in there, start transferring it across. Error throws up. I can't remember what the error says now. I put it in the chat. Chatted away to people for hours and hours and hours. Went through what I'm doing. They're like, no, you're doing everything right. Don't know why the error's coming up. Maybe it's the housing for the NVMe. There's some sort of error. And I said, okay, well, what one shall I buy then? Because I've just bought this especially. Oh, well, we don't have a list that we suggest. And I'm like, does anyone know what one would actually work? No. So now I'm just going to keep buying fucking NVMe housing things off Amazon and testing them and hoping it works. And in the meantime, I have no access to my Node or my Lightning. I'm worried about my channels. I'm like, fuck, I had like fairly decent sized channels on there. Am I now going to lose my sats because the Bitcoin address that I use to open the channels is in C Lightning, which is it's not like from my passport or anything like that. Even if I close the channels, then that goes to that, but I don't have access to it without having access to my Start9. So I'm quite pleased about it, and it's gone about as smoothly as you would expect with me.
So can't you just put the old 1 terabyte one back in for now, just to make sure that all your channels are still up and running?
Well, in theory, yes, but then I'm like, I was kind of thinking, oh, maybe I'll just do that. But then I thought, no, because everything that I've done is correct. Like I've followed every step and then I've checked with everyone. Like they're like, yep, everything you've done is right. But at the same time, nothing has worked. So my assumption is if I do that, somehow I'm going to put that in. And now because I've reflashed Start9 from a USB stick, it's like some fucking problem's going to happen where I put the old one back in and it won't register and then it will wipe that and then that's completely gone. And it's all just going to be even worse. Like, it seems like whatever I do, even if I follow the steps, I just make things worse. A bit like my ironing.
Okay. Again, like the Start9 guys say, it does sound like you've done everything correctly, and it is probably just a crappy NVMe adapter. Where did you get it from? Amazon?
I got it from Amazon. It's a good one. I bought it's like the suggested one. It was like 25 quid. It wasn't like a cheap piece of shit. It had like a fast.
Yeah, is it USB-A on the other end, like to plug it into the laptop?
Tried everything. USB-C into the laptop. I've tried USB-C into another adapter that's on like an expandable thing to like give me more room. I tried USB, like the blue one, on 2 separate ports on the laptop. Same problem. Each time I went through the whole process, reflashed it, did the recovery thing, reads the NVMe that I've plugged in. It says 900 and whatever gigabyte. And then it says transferring, shows 0%. It waits 5 minutes and then it throws up an error in red basically saying, haha, you cunt. This isn't going to work. And it just does that over and over again.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And do you know what's sad is like I sat in the evening taking the laptop apart. I put like a cloth out on top of my desk. I had everything organized. I had like this new little toolkit to take everything apart. So it was like all nice. And I sat there with a coffee and I genuinely had this thought. This is probably why it's fucked up. I went, do you know what? I've come a long way. I'm getting there. I'm taking a laptop apart. I'm going to reflash this Linux operating system onto it, which is now my server. And then I'm going to put my Monero node on there and everything's going to be running fine. I'm pretty cool. That was the thought I had.
Well, there is one massive positive to this whole story.
What's that?
I have a Start9 server that also has a 1 terabyte drive that is almost full. So when you figured out how to fix all of this stuff, I can upgrade mine because I've got a 2 terabyte drive sat here right next to my server waiting to go in.
You don't need to worry, mate.
I keep putting it off. And now I'm going to put it off a little bit longer until we record in 2 weeks' time and you tell me that you fixed the issue.
You don't need to worry. You'll do exactly what I did and it will just work flawlessly for you.
You're probably right. Yeah, maybe I should take the plunge. I don't know what it is. Like the weird thing about service, right, is anytime there's anything Lightning related on a server, doing anything to that server just gives me the heebie-jeebies, and I'm just like, it's just going to break.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn it off, and when it reboots, like, it's just never going to come back up again.
Yeah.
When it was like my old Ronin Dojo node where it was just on-chain stuff, nice and simple, I was just like, yeah, I was like so reckless with the updates. As soon as I saw one, I was like, yep, go, let's do it. Now I'm like super cautious.
It's annoying because I thought, before I had that thought of like, oh, I'm quite cool, I'm doing things correctly and I followed the guides and I know what I'm doing. Before that, I did my backup. I checked, oh, I've got a backup, and I thought I'm going to do a fresh backup as well. So I did that, and I'm like, right, okay, I've got 2 lots of backups on this drive, so we should be fine there. Then I thought, I'll find another drive and I'll do a backup on that, just in case the other one that I've done the backup fucks up, and both backups on that fuck up, because that's the sort of thing that would happen to me. Because I thought it had to be 1 terabyte, because I thought it was backing up the whole thing. So I was like, oh, I don't have another 1 terabyte drive. Okay, well, I've done 2. That should be fine. And then I thought, maybe, because Lightning could be the problem here, maybe I should close the channel or just spend all what I have on Lightning, send it over to another wallet, because nothing ever works for me. And then I thought, it's midnight. It'll be fine. You're following the guide. You'll be all right. And that was that devil on the shoulder just going, you'll be all right, which is always a lie. Never, ever will I be all right. It never fucking works. And I should have sent, because I have like 2 million sats on there, like a decent chunk, because I'm using it a lot, because like we need it always for Uncovering Misfits, for like paying stuff and ordering clothes and prints and all different stuff. So yeah, I've got like 2 million sats on there, and I don't know what the fuck's going to happen.
I look forward to an update the next time we record on this one. Question for anybody affiliated with Start9 that might be listening to this. It does seem a little bit bizarre why you don't even have the option to back up the blockchain data as well.
I assumed that's what I was doing.
Well, I knew that it didn't back up the blockchain, but I've never really considered it until we just had this conversation. I've just gone back through the backup menu on my server, and yeah, there's definitely no like tick box to say, give me all of the blocks as well.
Yeah, it would be nice.
I'm sure they've probably got a valid reason for it, but yeah, if you're listening to this and you're affiliated with Start9, maybe let us know.
Yeah, and if there is a recommended case for an NVMe that would actually work so that I could know, rather than just buying loads of them and not really knowing, that would also be very much appreciated. Someone did write in the chat, they've used a casing which has worked, but they said actually it only just worked for a backup, not a restore, so I don't know. So I'm like, okay, well, we'll see.
We will see. I saw we have a new, very small time frame show on the feed, mate. About 10 minutes long. What's that all about?
Have you listened to it or not?
I have indeed listened to it, but I was trying to set the scene for the listeners.
We have, for anyone who hasn't already listened to it, just a bit of a thank you, giving something back to all our incredible baller boosters who have been supporting this show and the other shows over the past year or so and kept us going. So go and have a listen if you haven't already. And if your name is called in that episode, we're going to be sending something special your way.
Yeah, very cool. Great to listen to, and, you know, great to be a part of, and want to extend my thanks as well to all of the people mentioned in that show. As you correctly said, Max, like the show wouldn't be what it is without their support. So very happy that you were able to do something to give back and say thanks to these people, because the community engagement and the boost and the comments and stuff really do help us get motivated to do this as frequently as we do. So thank you, everybody that listens. Final bit of AOB, because we have been chatting for 21 minutes already. Let's get to the news quickly. But you told me offline about some more exciting news about the show. Do you want to maybe fill the listeners in on what's going on with that one?
Yes. Very, very excited to announce we have a new sponsor.
Wait. It's not Compass, is it?
It is Compass, yeah. I decided that despite them being completely fucking useless and me still not being out and them costing me a disgusting amount of money and most of the people in the Bitcoin space, what I've decided is none of that matters because they're putting some pennies in my hand. So welcome, Compass, to the Uncoverable Misfits crew.
Great to have you on board.
That would never happen. We do reverse sponsorships for those cunts. No, we're very, very happy to announce that Cake Wallet will be sponsoring the show.
That Seth gets his little mitts into everything, doesn't he?
Well, it was funny. I was sat for ages. Like, we've had this discussion. I was like, we need some sponsorship because I need to like eat and pay bills and that kind of stuff. I was trying to write a list of like, who would I actually work with? And that list is incredibly short. It's surprising how you think like, oh, there's got to be companies out there that you'd work with in the Bitcoin world. And when you start doing enough digging, you're either like, they're going to be a risk to users because like financially they want to like hold your money or lend your money, or they're going to be a risk because they hold your data and there's KYC and other problems involved. Or they're like new and untested stuff who want to sponsor you and you're like, I don't really want to do that. Or they're just complete assholes, or they have a bad track record. It's like, it's always a problem. So I had a very, very short list. I was just about to start writing some emails out to these companies and my phone pings and it's Seth. And he's like, hey, didn't want to poach you or anything from Foundation. I know you're going to stay with them, but I just wondered if you might be interested in a second sponsor. Cake would really like to work with you. I don't know if this would be of interest. And I was like, yes. In fact, I'm literally emailing you now. Can we have a phone call? Like literally it was that. We've spoken a lot off air for the last sort of like month to 6 weeks. I'm really excited to be working with them. They've told me a few things that's happening behind the scenes, and we've been covering them now for pretty much ever since Samurai arrests happened, and we were scrambling around trying to find people who were actually trying to work on Bitcoin privacy. We weren't seeing a lot. So Cake Wallet has been mentioned in, I think, pretty much every episode that we've done together for the last sort of 3, 4, 5, 6 shows. And they seem to be ahead of the pack.
Yeah, very much so. Very happy to hear this. Very well aligned with the kind of ethos of the show. So yeah, congratulations and great move for Seth and the team as well. Very much aligned and happy to hear it.
Yeah, we're going to be getting Seth and maybe Vic on the show soon as well to have a chat. Very excited to hear about all their updates and things they'll be bringing out soon. I don't think there's any other team that are moving like these guys are at the moment when it comes to Bitcoin privacy and just privacy in general.
Absolutely. Right, let's hit the news. Telegram has changed its policy to share phone numbers and IP addresses in what they class as valid requests. So Telegram has updated its privacy policy to state that it will provide user data, including IP addresses and phone numbers, to law enforcement agencies in response to a valid legal order. Shocked? Nope, me neither.
No.
Yeah. In 2024, Telegram has already responded to over a dozen US law enforcement data requests, potentially revealing the IP addresses or phone numbers of more than 100 users, as reported by 404 Media. And Pavel Durov, the Telegram guy, has also added that the company has been disclosing user information as far back as 2018.
What? I am shocked.
I sense some satire. But yeah, again, Max's satire is correct. This shouldn't be a shock to anybody, but I just want to drive home that Telegram has never been a private messenger. And clearly that law enforcement, the little scare he's had in France, has made him a bit more palatable to law enforcement, such that they are now changing policy to become a little bit more compliant and to keep himself out of jail, which on a human level, I can understand.
It wouldn't go like this. Hey, mate, look, we'd really like it if you could share some info with us. You know, I know it's a private company and like you don't really have to, but we'd really like it if you did. And then he'd go, nah, I'd really prefer if I didn't. And they go, okay, all right, we'll let you go. It would be, well, you give us the information. Go on.
Well, in fairness, in previous years, he has gone on record multiple times and done that. and told governments where to get off. But clearly that's not the case anymore because they
Different when
put him
you're
in a little
arrested,
room,
though.
slapped him
Yes.
about a bit. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, do you like your freedom? Yeah, I thought you did. Okay. If you don't comply, we will fucking ruin your life. That's how it goes.
Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yes, exactly.
Who said that? Was it Mike Tyson?
It was Mike Tyson, apparently. I've never actually seen him say it. I've just heard loads of people quoting him. It could be one of those things. What's it called when it's that? It's like, there's a name for it.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Streisand effect, is it?
No, I think that's where you try to... Streisand effect is where you try to suppress information, and that makes that information more kind of interesting, and it spreads like wildfire.
There's some name for it, though, isn't there?
Yeah.
It could be that. Don't know.
The EU chat control that has been looming for what seems like an eternity has once again been removed from the agenda of a recent EU member state meeting or council that they had, which again is a little bit of positive news. Contrary to previous planning, the Hungarian presidency has removed chat control from the agenda of today's permanent representatives meetings in the EU Council, and this was dated a couple of weeks ago. A spokesman for the EU Council has confirmed that the Netherlands has announced to abstain, and as a result, the blocking minority in the Council stands against chat control. So it sounds like, once again, just like last time, there has been enough people either saying that I don't want anything to do with this, or being open and kind of being against what this is proposing, that there's enough to take it off the bill for now so that they can drum up more support. So this is the second time that we've gone round in this circle. So it's only slightly positive news in the fact that it's just not being at the forefront right now. My guess is there's some more back channeling going to be going on to gain some more support. And, you know, when they're confident that they've got enough to pass it, they'll bring it back up. And yeah, then we're all fucked.
Well, let's hope that it takes long enough for them to pass this, that their power wanes enough, or that we build the tools good enough that it doesn't matter.
Yes, indeed. Okay, more news. This one a bit more doom and gloom. Tornado Cash developer Roman Storm is set to face a criminal trial as ruled by the judge. The US District Judge Catherine Polk Failure delivered an hour-long oral opinion stating that Tornado Cash developer Roman Storm must face charges of money laundering, operating an unlicensed money transmitting business, and sanction violations, rejecting his defense that he was prosecuted for writing code. The judge denied Storm's motion to dismiss charges, finding the Department of Justice's allegations credible. She noted that Tornado Cash operates similarly to other financial institutions and is not simply a charitable project due to its venture capital funding, the relayer feature, and the use of TORN, T-O-R-N, tokens as evidence. Little quote here from the judge. The court finds the government has substantial interest in promoting a secure financial system by combating money laundering, by combating the operation of unregistered money transmitting services, and by combating the evasion of sanctions. These interests are wholly unrelated to the suppression of free expression. No, they fucking aren't. And applicably, of these laws to destroy conduct does not burden substantially more speech than necessary. So it was, on your bike, I don't buy your story, unfortunately. So I think because of this now, it's moving to a criminal case that he faces up to 45 years in jail.
Yeah, not good.
Oh, if convicted of all three charges, he faces up to 45 years in prison.
Disgusting.
Meanwhile, in the UK, you can be on the BBC, be a paedophile, and not go to prison at all.
It is like, we kind of take it for granted that this stuff happens in a way. It's like, yeah, well, of course the pedo who worked for the BBC didn't go away. And like, of course, someone who's just creating technology and like making people's lives better is going to go to prison potentially for 45 years. Like, of course that's going to happen. And of course the EU is going to keep pushing for all these crazy laws. And of course this stuff is going to happen. But when you like really stop and think about it, it's completely fucking ridiculous. Like, how is this happening? These institutions that people are supposed to trust, so fucking disgusting.
Yeah, I think it's just more and more evidence that the average person is either A, just not watching the news anymore, or B, they see this sort of stuff and it just goes completely over their head and they're just happy in their little bubble just about making ends meet. And this is of little consequence to them because it has no direct impact, although they think.
Yeah, it keeps them you know that whole thing about like old bread and circuses and people are just like watching the football. I think that obviously is true and it keeps people busy and distracted. But also like the finance side of things, everyone I know in the UK, even people who would definitely be considered middle class and have got good jobs, and you'd look at them from the outside and go like, well, these people are like doing well. My friends who I'll sit and like have a dad chat with, like over a coffee when no one else is there, I'm like, how are you, mate? Fucking tough, mate. I'm tired. Like things are tough. Everyone I speak to who from the outside looks okay is not really okay. And they're all like trying to do everything they can, like just all day, every day, just to pay the bills. If I was to say, oh, did you hear about this case? They'd be like, no, mate, I'm just working. Everyone's just so busy just trying to survive.
Yeah, like I don't have the mental capacity to even comprehend what this means for me.
Yeah, there's no way that anyone's going to be looking at this stuff. And so that's like not bread and circuses. That's just keep these little rat slaves so fucking busy, keep everything so expensive that if they want to give their family what their family's used to, they want to keep having decent food and like being able to go and do something on the weekend and like be able to have clothes that don't have holes in them and be able to put petrol in the car, all the just like basic shit that a family is used to that 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago was much more affordable. They're now trying to keep up and they are just fucking struggling. So it's, I don't know whether it's probably not a tactic. It just is what it is. And that's why people just don't pay attention. They just don't care. It's like, oh, what, that pedo from the BBC didn't go to prison? Yeah, well, I mean, what do you expect? And there's no more thought because it's like, I've got shit to do.
Yeah, indeed.
Anyway, rant over.
Tough to not get blackpilled when you read stuff like this day in, day out, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, slightly more positive news. Bolt 12 has officially been merged into the Lightning specification. Unless you've been living in a cage, you've heard us... A cage? A cave? Unless you've been living in a cave, you would have heard at least Max or I or both of us talking about Bolt 12 multiple times over the past probably 2 years, maybe? Been a long time coming.
Yeah, very long time.
More recently, you would have heard us talking about implementations of this in the real world, which is the important part in things like Phoenix Wallet. And of course, within kind of core Lightning applications that generally live on top of nodes. So Bolt 12, the kind of framework for that takes the Lightning Network to kind of the next level in terms of multiple different things. The most commonly spoken about of which is the offers type of thing, which is like a static payment code where you don't need any direct interactivity to be able to pay a specific user on the Lightning Network. You just need to know their Bolt 12 offer, which could be just a QR code or it could be a string of text. And you can just go and pay them. That user that you're paying doesn't need to have a web server or anything like that, which is kind of the legacy LN URL setup. So this spec that defines all of what I've just spoken about and much, much more has been officially merged into the Lightning specification so that it is now like an official part of what we consider or what we all agree to be part of the core features of Lightning. The ironic thing about all of this is that although this is a great thing, the two implementations, three that there are now because of we have C Lightning, we have Async from Phoenix, and we also have, I think, LNDK maybe? I think there's three. That still only covers a very, very small percentage of the network because LND has yet to adopt it, and 90%, again, take that figure with a pinch of salt, of the network all runs on LND. So although this is wonderful, we don't really get the rubber to meet the road until LND pulls their finger out their bum, stops messing with Taro or whatever crap it is they're building and implement something that the users actually want. Okay, final piece of news. We have a pretty cool, on the surface of it, it seems like a pretty cool collaboration where the Tor project and the Tails project have now kind of come under the same umbrella. Again, I don't think I need to explain what Tor is, but for those that have never heard of Tails, it is an amnesic operating system that runs on a USB stick.
Oh, I've not heard that one before. Amnesic. That's quite nice.
Amnesic. It's quite a nice word, that, isn't it? Amnesic.
Yeah.
And again, if you're of a lower IQ level, that means that it doesn't remember shit.
Or if you've forgotten.
Yeah, so it runs on a USB stick. You can plug it into any computer. So let's say you go into a public library and you need to send a questionable email to a questionable recipient. You might be a dissident, or you might be a reporter that's reporting on some spicy news, and you want to do so, or you have no choice but to do so on a specific machine, but you don't want to trust that machine and its operating system. You can boot that machine into or from this USB stick that's running Tails. Looks like a typical Linux distribution when you interact with it. You can browse the internet, blah, 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 all of that sort of stuff. And then when you turn it off and pull the USB stick out, there's no trace left on the host computer, which is kind of the whole point. Nothing's remembered, so that you don't leave any traces as to what may or may not have gone on at the time that you were using that machine. So obviously Tor is quite a big project, been well established for quite some years, probably got a much bigger budget than Tails, and then they've now come under the single umbrella to hopefully enable the blossoming of both projects, which is very cool to see.
That is very cool. With Tails, how does it work in terms of VPNs and stuff? I assume you just use Tor. You don't have a Mulvad application in there that you can link to your thing. You just use Tor for everything.
Generally speaking, yes, but there's no reason that you couldn't install an app while it's live.
Yeah.
Obviously, that would disappear if you don't go through the optional persistent storage. But yeah, you could install Mulvad, use it, and then it would just disappear when you unplugged it. But generally speaking, just makes sense to just use Tor, in my opinion.
Yeah, so you wouldn't keep programs on there and stuff because you can't. It's not like you could.
Well, you can. Tails does have an optional persistent storage partition where you can, if you want to use this repeatedly with the relevant trade-offs, then yeah, you can save certain things in the persistent storage, but that's not like the default way to use it.
Because the reason I'm asking, I'm sure I've seen people talk about having Sparrow on it, unless I'm going completely mad.
No, you can. Yeah, that's absolutely right.
So someone would put Sparrow in the partitioned part of the drive. If your computer was seized or something like that, well, it doesn't matter because as long as they don't have that drive, then you're okay.
That's right, yeah. I've never actually done that, but that is my understanding of how it works.
Okay.
There's also a little tangential project that's similar to Tails that's called, I think it's just called Details, the letter D followed by Tails. That allows you to kind of configure Tails in such a way where it's like a setup wizard so that you can have multiple things easily within the persistent storage like Sparrow. There's loads of other pieces of software. I can't actually find the link now. But that was a pretty cool one to check out. I don't know on the status of it as to whether it's still maintained or not. But that was a pretty cool piece of software where you could kind of use Tails, but it was like on easy mode if you wanted to use additional piece of software as well.
Yeah, I quite like that actually. Just for things like Sparrow. For example, if you had like very, very long-term cold storage and you wanted to have a separate laptop to be dealing with anything Bitcoin related, you kind of wouldn't really need to because you could just have this hidden away somewhere. It's encrypted anyway. And then when you need to use it, you just boot from this little USB stick and interact with it that way rather than having a separate laptop that you'd have to store somewhere. And if it's a concern, if that laptop was to be found and someone was... Because I keep thinking about, with this Samurai case, they managed to get into so many of their devices. I think about that and I'm like, okay, yeah, all my stuff that needs to be is encrypted. But Samurai's devices have all been got into, pretty much all of them. I'm like, they would have done it better than I would have. That means if my stuff was ever seized, I'm not confident that the encryption would actually work and that they wouldn't be able to just see everything that I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of unknowns, especially when you're referring to the Samurai case. Like, we don't know Like, I think a lot of them were phones. We don't know whether they were older phones that are known, like I don't know, an old, very old Pix, like a 3 or a 4. It's commonly known that they're very easily hackable, even if they're encrypted at rest and stuff like that.
Right.
So that versus, let's say you've got an encrypted hard drive and you've got like a 30-character password that was generated somewhere really secure that gives you great suggestions, then the likelihood of them being able to crack that, within a feasible amount of time, in my opinion, is still slim to none. So it's, the context is important here. So I don't want to say that just because you've encrypted it doesn't mean it's insecure. Obviously, if you've encrypted it with the password like 1234, then
Cat
yeah,
123.
Yeah, exactly. Then you're screwed. So it's very contextual. Yes,
Okay.
just to go back to details, I found a GitHub. It is still being maintained. And listen to this list of stuff that you can add as part of like configuring it: Sparrow, Bisq, BIP39, Ian Coleman, CTool. Shout out CTool. Border Wallets, Whirlpool, GUI. Obviously, that one's not much use at the moment. Spectre Desktop, Hodl Hodl, Robosat, Mempool Space, Simplex Chat, Noster PubKey mining tool, or Noster web clients. Like, there's loads of stuff you can add to it. Pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Quick note for Jordan, mental note. Grab the link for this and chuck it in the show notes. I'll send it you. Okay, should we do some boosts, mate?
Sounds good.
I will hit the fountain boosts. Thank you once again to everybody that got involved. We received, this is just on Fountain, 150,000 sats for the Bitcoin Brief 41. So thank you very much for getting involved. Top of the list, Mr. Rob Palmer, 50,000 sats. And he just sent the jury's out. It's either a high five emoji or a praying emoji. What's your thoughts, Max?
I don't think that bloke prays. He's got some serious problems, so I would imagine it's going to be high five.
Let's go for high five. Next up, Shadowy Super Badger, 21,210 sats. Blokes, I'm a realist, and it's not looking good for our guys on trial in this lawfare environment. Therefore, it's up to us. Run a node, use it, use Tor, fuck custodians.
I'm trying, mate. I'm trying.
Very topical. 8 Mithrandir, 10,777 sats. Please don't try a weekly live show. I greatly appreciate Wow. I greatly appreciate the editing work you guys do. Well, 8 Mithrandir, the editing is all me, and you are very welcome.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
It's not, by the way. Max spends literally days doing it. We all eat. That's the first time I've ever read that and got the name right first time. 10,021 sats. Yo, I can't boost all these damn shows. Max trying to feed the dog so it can shit on the floor again. Laugh my fucking ass off. Don't forget about the toilet paper.
Yeah, the dog literally shat on the floor mid-recording the other day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Huxley boosted 10,000 sats. Bounty for Ronin Dojo on Start 9. What do you think? Absolutely. Link me when you create it. I will throw some sats towards that bounty.
+1.
To be clear, it probably wouldn't be Ronin Dojo, would it? It would just be the Dojo software.
Dojo.
Yeah. Shadrach, great name. 9,093 sats. Again, we've got the high five emoji and a cigarette. Mr. Crown. Hi, Mr. Crown. 5,000 sats.
Oh, hey.
What you should do between your sets is focus on breathing exercises. Do you know what, Mr. Crown? You're absolutely right. And
no, that's not from Mr. Crown. It can't be. I haven't got the list in front of me, but
that's what he said. I think what he's saying is that, because we were talking about like what we do in between our sets in the gym, and we're saying, oh yeah, we're on Telegram and we're organizing, merch and blah, blah, blah. What he's saying there is, if you were actually training really hard, then you wouldn't be able to do that sort of stuff. And I wholeheartedly agree that you're right.
I can actually confirm it is Mr. Crown. Not the sort of comment I would expect from Crown.
You doubted me.
Yeah.
Chad Farrow, 3,333 sats. Max, tell Marty Bent and Odell you'll do a live show when they add chapters to Rabbit Hole Recap. Oof, shots fired.
We're not doing a live show, and they don't have Jordan. So they don't have chapters, they don't have artwork, they don't have GIFs. They're not one step ahead like we are. We have the secret sauce, and it's called Jordan.
Wartime, 3,333 sats. Love the show and the discussion. Beers, salute. Pies the pleb, 2,100 sats. Bloody fucking hell, mate. America flag, pistol, strong arm. Hoorah! I'm an Arsenal fan, but besides the Arsenal, the Beatles and grime music, everything else British is shit, mate. I'll give you that Arsenal is shit. but I won't have a bad word said about grime.
No, I won't either. I sent some to John the other day.
Oh, God.
He was not impressed.
What did you send him? I am curious.
I can't remember what I sent him now. I think I sent him like Kano and
Nice.
Devlin.
Nice.
What else did I send him? I can't remember off the top of my head. I sent him some good stuff, and he was just like, dreadful. I think with grime music especially, if you're not British, you're going to really struggle with like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Because it's very like in and cultural and references back to like early days and difficult to pick up, I would think.
Bon boosted with 2,345 sats. He did it twice with the same comment. Glasses, notes, and brain. I take it that means he's making notes from the show. We're making him think, maybe?
I hope so.
FOMO-matronic, 1001 sats, boosted with, I think he was attempting to use the keyboard shortcuts for a smiley and it's failed. So we've got a semicolon, an up arrow, and a square bracket. That's also called a parentheses for you guys over the pond.
Okay.
Wartime, 333 sats. Monero tip equals moan, MOAN. I'm not sure I'm a fan of that one. We were talking. We asked for a name, didn't we, of the Monero tips or the Monero boost or whatever.
I'm not sure that I like a moan.
Yeah, I think moan is like bottom of the barrel at the moment, my friend. Able, 801 sats. Awesome recap of the news.
Just stop me there. It's not Able. It's AIBLE. We covered it, me and John, the other day, and let me just remember what it is. I think it's like ASIC instruction before leaving Earth. And it's like something to do with he's leaving instructions for his kids on how to run miners and secure their sats before he leaves Earth. And he's leaving like an instruction manual.
Okay. Where's he going?
Heaven, I'd imagine.
Oh, I see. Nice. Awesome recap of the news. While there's a lot of good podcasts out there, I'll keep listening to this one on 1X as I look forward to listening on my way to and from the two Fiat Minds or church with my family. Keep up the great work and God bless you both.
Yeah, you see.
Thank
Heaven.
You, yeah. Nobody from nowhere, 666 sats. Ooh. So we were talking about heaven and now we've got a boost for 666 sats.
Yin and yang.
Ashigaru, whoever did that, thank you. Chilly, 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 sunglasses face. Cyborgs, 321 sats with the crossed swords. That's it. That's all of our boosts, mate, from Fountain. Thank you once again for everybody getting involved. We appreciate your support.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, on to some updates and releases. A little bit of a shorter week this week. What do we have here? Envoy version 1.8.3 beta is now available for public beta testing. You can now buy Bitcoin directly within the app in all 50 US states. Previously, we had a limited list based on presumably some horrible regulations, but our partner Ramp has now got around that. So if you're in the market for some KYC corn, then go ahead. And the one I'm a little bit more excited about is another enhancement to our Tor connection stability that hopefully just means that people get fewer and fewer dropped connections, particularly on iOS, where it seems to be manifest itself a little bit more than it does on Android. So head to the Telegram chat if you want to get your hands on that and help us with testing, particularly on the Tor connection, especially if you're an Apple fanboy. It would be great to get some feedback on how it is with you guys.
I was just going to say, I've not had any issues with Tor connections, or not like serious ones. Like it might be that it's a bit slow and then I just close the app and restart it and then it works. Like it's never more than 10 seconds of fucking around for it to work.
Yeah, that's good to know. It's a bit of a moving beast, the whole Tor connectivity thing, but I feel like we're getting somewhere close to what we'd consider stable. Next up, new release, Albi Go. The easiest, this is a quote by the way, not my opinion, the easiest mobile app to use Bitcoin on the go. So Albi has announced the release of Albi Go, a mobile application designed for the easiest Bitcoin payments on the go, cross-platform and open source. I haven't verified the open source bit. They say it's open source, but I haven't checked that one. But I believe their browser extension is, so I have no reason to doubt them. From what I've seen with the screenshots, it is a very simple user interface, just a send button, receive button, balances, and your transaction list. And it's designed to be paired with your Albi hub. Now, your Albi hub, I think we spoke about this last time, where you can either have a kind of relationship with Albi where similar to an LSP where they would kind of manage your channels for you and take a fee. Or you can now, which is also part of the news, host the Albi hub on your Start OS or your Umbrel nodes. Well, most of us can. You can't at the moment, Max, unfortunately.
Neither can Jordan, because he tried to add the Albi hub to his Start 9 and it's completely fucked his whole server as well. So neither of us have a working Start 9 at the moment.
Dear. Okay, so this is new, so maybe tread carefully. Maybe do it on a test node rather than your main node for now. It sounds like there might be some teething issues. But
yes.
Good to see more options coming on, and sounds like Albi are kind of going for this vertical integration where, you know, it sits on top of your node. You have a mobile application, which I commend them for as long as it's open source, because you can just get a much tighter integration and make things work much more seamlessly. Bitbox O2 firmware's, version 9.21.0, and then it's got dash multi. I presume that means it's the multi-coin version of the firmware.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason, I know we don't really talk about Bitbox very often, but the reason I wanted to highlight this one is they have added support for sending to silent payment addresses.
Oh, okay.
I believe they're the first ever hardware wallet to support this sending feature. Previously, it's just been mobile wallets like Cake, etc. But you can now do this directly from your Bitbox O2, presumably only with the Bitbox O2 desktop application, the Bitbox app. In fact, no, I think it might be mobile as well. So, but their app, you have to do it through their app. But you can now, if you've got friends using Cake Wallet to receive silent payment donations or whatever, you can now do that directly from your Bitbox. So hats off to those guys. They do always seem to be at the bleeding edge of this sort of stuff. And they've also added support for Taproot wallet policies and Miniscript on Taproot, which is also called Mini TapScript, which I believe is needed for functionality like Liana wallet, where you've got kind of fancy shit like degrading multisig and stuff. So once again, they're at the bleeding edge. As always with this sort of stuff, if it's new, it's at the bleeding edge, then just tread carefully. But wanted to highlight it because it's a first, and just wanted to give them some kudos.
Nice work.
Another new release, we have Vault Wallet. Now, this isn't the first release of this, but it's the first time it's come across my radar again since I was in Oslo earlier this year. I saw the young guy who's behind Vault Wallet do a presentation on it. Looked like it had a great UI. I downloaded it on the day and had a little test of it. It was very kind of alpha, should I say, but they're now on version 0.45 beta 1. And the cool part about this, apart from it having a really beautiful UI, is that it's built on top of lots of different open source frameworks. So it uses BDK, just like we do for Envoy. So that's the wallet framework. It also uses the Breeze SDK to facilitate all of their Lightning functionality. And the Breeze SDK, which is open source, is also built on top of the Greenlight solution that Blockstream offers. Two reasons I wanted to highlight this. Number one, it's a promising app from a very exciting young developer that I have a very big love for the UI of it. It also has self-custodial Lightning, and it builds on top of 3 or 4 different open source frameworks or models or APIs that helped bring this wallet to life and have another option for all customers. So once again, I think I say this every single week, but another shining example of why open source is so cool and so important and integral to the space.
Doesn't really fit, but
Shill alert.
Always shilling open source.
Yeah. Well, I'll happily hold my hands up for that one.
Yeah, me too.
Zeus version 0.9.1 beta 2 is now available for public testing. Highlights here include Bolt 11 blinded paths. Obviously, that's for LND nodes. You can now spend full UTXOs from your LND node. And you can also, I don't know what inbound routing fees means, but that's also in there. This is a key one. Rescans for external wallets. So up until now, if you connected a passport or another hardware wallet, then you couldn't retrieve the history for that wallet. It would only show transactions from the point that you did the connection. Well, now with version 0.9.1 that's currently in beta, you can do that rescan and then repopulate all of your existing balances so that you're not having to start from scratch. That was the one I've been waiting for, so very excited about that. And I think that would be checking the box that we need for me to do a tutorial video on that, on how to use Passport with Zeus. So thank you to Evan and the team. Looking forward to testing that one. Oh, there's another cool one I've just seen at the bottom of the list. You can now view all of your address list as well. So again, if you were to connect your hardware wallet, you can now view the entire address list rather than just tapping receive and getting a new address. You can view them in a list as well.
Nice.
Very excited about this one, actually. We haven't had an update from the Jam, Join Market UI team, for quite some time, but they've just released version 0.3.0, which is called, the name of the release is Freezing Fig. Very on brand.
Freezing Fig?
Yeah, so the whole point of Jam is that when you do your coin joins, you send them from one pot of jam to another, and they're all different flavors of jam. So like blue, you've got your apricot jar, your blueberry jar, etc., etc. So Freezing Fig is the name of this release, which is kind of on brand with the jam side of things. Here's what's new. You can quickly freeze and unfreeze UTXOs on the send page. You can review eligible or selected UTXOs, and you now have the ability to trigger a rescan of the time chain. I don't know how I feel about the use of the word time chain. Are you a time chain man or a blockchain man?
Blockchain.
Yeah, me too. I think maybe we're just old school.
Just old, I reckon.
Yeah, I feel it at the moment. Here's what's fixed. They fixed the time issue where when creating a fidelity bond. Do you know what? I've never actually used Jam and created a fidelity bond yet. Maybe I should try that. Probably because I don't have enough sats to do it. Various UI improvements and bug fixes, and validate the offer minimum size on the earn page. So again, still considered beta software, so take your time with this sort of stuff and be very careful. But on-chain fees are low, so maybe it's a good time to go and explore Jam and Join Market. Another new release is called Diamond Wallet, which is a Lightning wallet with Bolt, Link, and Sats for Ads functionality. So again, another new release, so tread carefully. But this is a Japanese-based wallet that I believe does come in English as well. That's currently in beta. It's self-custodial, of course. We wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't. But the kind of USP here is that it enables users to earn sats by viewing ads. Now, I haven't actually installed this, but I've seen one of the demo videos, and it looks like there's a kind of unique link format that you can use, presumably in combination with the app developer, to kind of surface your ad wherever you wanted to post a link. And as soon as a Diamond Wallet user taps on that link, obviously Diamond Wallet on your phone will detect that it's, one of their unique formatted links. It will pop up the ad within the wallet and then demand a payment from the user before. Well, I don't know at what stage, but at some point after watching the advert, so that you can quite literally get paid for watching different ads. So this is kind of cool from a business perspective, that if this kind of takes off, it could be a different kind of advertising model for all companies, not just Bitcoin companies. But also, if you're bored, I guess you can just go through looking for these links and get very, very small amounts of sats as well. Okay, another update from the Nunchuk team. They have released, I don't actually have the version number. Yes, I do. Android version 1.9.52. 1.9.52. So yeah, anyway, I won't go into detail. iOS version 1.9.55. The short name, which is much catchier than 1.9.52, is Decoy Wallets. So you can now enhance your Bitcoin security with Decoy Wallets. Without going into loads of detail here, basically you can just set multiple pins for the application, such that you'll have your primary security pin that shows all of your main wallets, where you would in theory keep the watch only to your passport, and your master hot wallet that might have a few $1,000s in it. But then you can also have separate decoy pins that open the wallet in guest mode, that have actual real live wallets in there that have smaller amounts of Bitcoin. The idea here being that you could enter the decoy pin in a duress situation and hand over the attacker maybe 1 million sat instead of your entire life savings.
That's quite nice.
It seems quite nice. However, there's some potential pitfalls I see with it. And I think they've already got this covered in the blog post that they did, where they talk about best practices. But there's no way to recover these decoy pins. They're local to your phone. So if you put 1 million sats into a decoy wallet and you don't back up the seed words and you forget the decoy pin, then you are fucked. Those sats are gone. There's no way for them to help recover that.
Yeah, but I mean, if you don't write down your seed words, generally you're fucked. Just write down your seed words. That's it.
But then you get into a world of, okay, well, now I've got another set of seed words to worry about. Most people don't have that many secure places, and this is why we always somewhat rail on multisig, is like, where do you keep all these secrets? Do you have multiple decoy wallets where you're going to keep all of the extra seeds? Now, there's a quick fix for this, and it's called BIP85. Exactly, yeah. So if you're going to do this, which, just be careful. Like I say, you could get yourself into a sticky situation, but you can do some preventative maintenance here in the fact of, like, if you had a couple of decoy wallets here under different pins and you populated those wallets with a BIP85 seed that you can generate from most good hardware wallets these days, you don't have to have a physical backup of those secondary seeds because you can deterministically regenerate them from, for example, the key manager on your passport. Yeah. So that could be a good way around it. And then all you've got to worry about is the decoy pins. But again, as we've just said, in the worst case scenario and you forgot the decoy pin, you could just recover from BIP85 derivation as well. So this is pretty cool, and not something I'd urge everybody to run into straight away because there are pitfalls, but yeah, pretty cool to see on a mobile device.
Yeah, I like that.
Although I have an open question for you, right? These decoy wallets, how effective do you think they would actually be in a real world scenario where somebody's about to cave your head in with a steel bar? If an attacker comes into your house and they know you're a Bitcoiner and you open your mobile wallet and it's got 500,000 sats or 1 million sats in, do you think they're going to leave with that happy? Or do you think they're going to be like, look, I know hardware wallets exist, so I'm staying put and I'm going to break your kneecaps until you go and dig out that cold card or that bitbox or whatever it is?
I don't know. I think it would work for some situations. If someone's going to break into your house and you have dogs and an alarm system is time sensitive, they want to get in and they want to get out, it's better than nothing, I suppose. And also, like, it depends how sophisticated they are. If they're like someone who listens to this show, they might be sat there going, oh, I'll make a note of that, decoy wallets in Nunchuck. Whereas if it's just some bloke down the pub who's heard about, they've got Bitcoin, they don't even really know how to use it, they don't really know what it is, but they're like, I'm going to steal that because it's worth something, probably would work. Don't know.
Yeah. Nuanced take there, Max. Well done. Yeah, I agree with everything you just said.
I would say better than decoy wallets is just keep your hardware wallet very close to a shotgun.
I like it.
Robbers without heads tend to steal your sats less than ones that have their heads.
Tickle me that. I like it. Okay, final release is a Noster one. You didn't think I was going to go a whole show without mentioning Noster, did you?
No.
And it's for my favourite Noster client, which is Amethyst. Again, Android only. Sorry, Apple fanboys. But version 0.92.0, again with the ridiculous release numbers. It's titled Tor and Transient Accounts. This version ships with a Tor service enabled by default to access .onion URLs and untrusted relays from the Outbox model. It also offers NFC-hosted transient accounts, also read amnesic, very on brand, that log off as soon as the app goes into the background, deleting all traces of the account from the phone. What this means you can do is that you can also write your NSEC to a NFC tag and hide that somewhere. And then when you need to use Amethyst, you can just tap the tag to your phone, enter the password, and you can then log in and do your thing on Noster. And then as soon as the app goes into the background, again, just like Tails, it forgets everything. So if you're a activist or a journalist or your name is Edward Snowden, something like that, like this is a very, very useful feature on top of, what is, in my opinion, a new and exciting type of network where I think spicy is probably the wrong word, but what law enforcement would deem risky publications are
truth.
Also read truth, are probably going to gravitate to over time. So this could be a really useful feature for people that find themselves in that sort of scenario in the future. Very cool.
Nice.
Okay, do you want to hit us up with the rest of the boosts, my friend?
Yes, let me just find them. Podverse from Chad Farrow. 15,000 sats. My favourite Fortnite podcast. Let's go. Thank you, Chad Farrow. And XMR chat. What are we going with? Did we decide? Just XMR chat for now? No, what was your suggestion? I liked your one. What was your thing?
It was a Monero.
Monero. I really like that. I think, yeah.
However, when you read the first boost or Monero from XMR Chat, they give some very valid reasonings as to the name, which in hindsight I agree with and will probably go with their suggestion. So I'll let you read it out.
Okay. Fiat demise. Didn't catch me out that time, did it? I'd prefer the Monero Super Chat messages be called XMR Chats after the website that allows any content creator to receive those, xmrchat.com. Side note, I lolled when you called me Fiat demise. That is a good point, actually.
Yeah, like I don't want to steal the show from whoever it is that's made that website. Like, it's clearly very useful, and we are living proof that it's getting some real world activity. So the impetus wasn't to try and draw attention away from that, and you make a very valid point.
Thank you, Fiat demise. We appreciate it. Elizabeth Warren with 0.139 XMRs. No, Picos. No, it'd be 1,390,000 Picos.
I have no idea. Do you know what's also funny is when you're reading out these amounts, I have no idea whether it's 10p or like $1,000. I have no idea what the exchange rate is.
I think one Monero is about $150. Let's have a look. Monero, or let's go XMR USD. Yeah, one Monero is $145.87 to give some context.
Thank you, sir.
So, yeah, Elizabeth Warren says, best podcast out there. You are the reason I became a Sovereign Samurai user. Many thanks to you and QnA for pointing me in the right direction. Onwards, with a fire emoji. Thanks, Elizabeth Warren. I assume that is the real Elizabeth Warren as well. She loves Monero.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely a Monero user. Yeah.
Big time. Han Shan, 0.508 XMR. You see, so they're not fucking around, these boosts, these XMR chats. That's a serious contribution.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Best of luck, fellas. Given up on the other pods since they lack intellectual honesty. Thank you for your consistent, nuanced discussion over the issues. Really happy I can leave a Monero in my preferred currency. Normalize privacy. Thank you, Han Shan. Yeah, we are going to go with XMR chat. XMR chats. Okay. Smoke. At the bottom of every rabbit hole, you'll find Monero, a dual coin approach to living in a techno-kleptocracy. Techno-kelopocracy?
I think there's a typo there. Yeah.
It is meant to be techno-kleptocracy. They're like fuck me. Techno-kleptocracy is the cheat code. This is something the laser eyes will never understand. Shout out to Dread and Archetype. Props as always to Max and Q. Thank you, Smoke. And Carter, Free Samurai. Cheers to the Misfits and shout out to the dads with 0.353 XMR. Thank you very much to all the XMR chat contributors. Extremely generous, and we really do appreciate it.
Okay, questions. First one is for you, Max, from FastLion21 on Twitter.
God,
Max,
don't ask me technical questions, mate.
This is a nice, easy one for you to answer. Max, what is your opinion on the goat-like nature of Q?
The goat-like nature of Q.
Yeah. I presume, or I hope he means goat as in
the greatest of all time.
Yes, not like I am an actual goat.
The actual goat is barn minor, obviously. There's only one real goat. Q, greatest of all time. Probably is the greatest of all time when it comes to carves or explaining technical shit in an easy way that retards can understand. So, yeah, I would say Q's goat-like nature is 10 out of 10.
That made me way more uncomfortable than I thought it would, but thank you.
Really? Just because I was being nice?
Yeah, not used to it.
Yeah. You're shit in most other aspects of life, if that helps you at all.
There we go.
There's not a lot else you can do.
Balance is restored.
Yeah.
Another one from FastLion21 on Twitter. Do you think the narrative that multisig is super hard can also be damaging if there are people who have what they believe is all the knowledge, brackets, you need all 3 Xpubs and 2 private keys, etc., but are scared away because it's, quote, too hard? I see where you're heading with this. Like, is it more damaging to scare people away versus the potential security improvements they're going to get from implementing or moving from single sig to multisig? I would say right now, no, because I'm still of the belief that right now, in terms of how common attacks are on and how frequently we hear about theft from people who actually self-custody with a hardware wallet in single sig fashion, versus the amount of times I've heard stories of people messing up with multisig or not being able to pass on their wealth if they disappear. Like, I still believe that is a bigger risk than somebody breaking into your house, caving your head in with a steel bar and stealing your passport. I just think that those types of things happen or are more likely to happen less frequently than somebody trying to do multisig and doing it wrong. That won't always be the case, as number one, multisig continues to get easier, and number two, physical attacks on people who have a very simple security setup increase, because we both know that both of those scenarios are going to happen. Multisig will get easier, continue to, and physical attacks will, as Bitcoin becomes more prevalent, will increase.
And also there's the privacy concerns with multisig, hiding in a smaller crowd and being more obvious and all that kind of stuff, which should be taken into account. And the other thing is, like, I don't think it's as black and white as that. I don't think it's you have multisig or you have single sig. And if you have single sig and someone breaks into your house, you're fucked. And if you have multisig, you're not. Because at the end of the day, like, just because you have single sig doesn't mean if someone comes into your house, you have access to spend those coins, and that if they hit you with a steel bar, you can do it. Just the same way that you might not be able to if you have multisig. You might have someone who has multisig, but then all their devices are in the house or accessible. And you might have the same with single sig, or you might have someone who has single sig, but they have a seed phrase that they don't actually remember, which is stored somewhere separate to their seed words, or the seed words are split, or whatever it is that they have, and that's in different locations. It just isn't as black and white as single sig or not single sig. And then you get into the situation where if you have single sig and you cannot actually spend when someone breaks into your house, you're in the same space as you would be with multisig, and then the only way that they can really take your coins is kidnapping or something like that, and that gets into a whole fucking different kettle of fish.
Agreed. Nicely done. I'll let you answer this next one first. Doug Stewart on Twitter: what are the chances that HBO have ID'd Satoshi? I'm putting it at 0, and you can brainstorm. And can you brainstorm possible tactics to uncover breadcrumbs? Just checking you've got the context here. You know what this question's about, right?
Yeah, I would put it at 0. I hope it stays as 0. And even if I did have some breadcrumbs to try and unwind things, which I definitely don't, I wouldn't share them. I'd gobble those breadcrumbs up and shit them out so no one would ever find them.
Yeah, as would I. What are the chances they've ID'd them? I think ultimately we'll never know, because I will happily take a large bet to say that, and I haven't seen this documentary, that at the end there will be some form of evidence that make them think that. But again, that's no different to what we've seen time and time and time and time again, where it's like, oh, this Satoshi did double spacing. We've seen a tweet from Adam Back in 2012 that used double spacing. It must be him. Yeah. All that sort of shit. It's like, even if they come out with like 5 or 6 different pieces of evidence, like, we're still not going to know. So yes, I agree with you, Doug Stewart. I'm putting it at 0. Brainstorm possible tactics. Over the years, there's been all sorts of shit. The way that they speak, the way that they type, the times at which they were posting to Bitcoin Talk or whichever forum it was back in the day. There's so many different things that they've used. The newspaper of choice, yeah. Whether it was British English, American English, there's all sorts of things. Who they chatted with, who they did the first transactions with, there's loads.
One of my mates seems very confident that it's this South African guy who's still in prison, who was an arms dealer. My bet would be Hal. Other people think get them back. There's all different. But yeah, ultimately we never know.
Next question. This, I think, was directed at me, and it's from our good friend Jordan. He sent the message over on Noster. Extra point for that. Have you played around with Dark IRC that was built by Amir Taki? The answer to your question, Jordan, is no. And the reason the answer to your question is no is because I saw your comments underneath that where you were talking with Han Shan, who also sent us a boost on this week's show. Basically, where you were talking about compiling it from source. As soon as I see that I've got to compile something from source, I check out and I'm like, yeah, I'll come back to it in 3 months' time when it's a bit more polished. So
I'll do it for you, mate. I'll report back.
are you going to do it on your start 9?
Oh, fuck off. Rub salt into the wound. You can't.
For a bit more context, Dark IRC, this is a quote, is the world's strongest anonymous chat. So again, that's got my bullshit radar up straight away.
Yeah.
There is no identity. Messages have no link. Free societies mean free speech, blah, blah, blah. Marketing speak. Let me get to some details. Okay. Dark IRC has no identity. You just send messages into an anonymous peer-to-peer network running over Tor. Dark IRC, full node running over Tor. We have ways to avoid spam, blah, blah, blah. So it sounds like it's just, oh my God, I've just seen the screenshots of it. It looks fucking awful. And I know it's very
Is this
early,
the one that is this the one that looks like command line?
Yeah. Like I will not be messing with that at all. Not until it's a lot more. And don't get me wrong, like I know it's very early. It's just been released. There'll be UIs wrapped around it, blah, blah, blah. That's when I'll get involved.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it looks like you're just kind of shouting into the abyss, which might be great for certain use cases, but certainly doesn't seem like it's going to displace something like Simplex or anything like that anytime soon. Final question. This is a bit of a funny one, actually. So we had a comment on Twitter that literally just said, and I'll read it verbatim, NIM ? Xano ? Bitcoin OS ? And I commented back and I said, I see some question marks, but I have no idea what the question is. So RCB on Twitter commented back with a bit more context. Thank you for that. Do these technologies, these new technologies, have any chance of providing the privacy Bitcoin lacks? Sorry, I wasn't clear. To me, the biggest issue for BTC is its lack of privacy, and most folks do not want to fuss with the hoops one must jump through to avoid control, e.g. Samurai. So I can't pass comment in any detail on any of the projects or whatever they are that you've mentioned, NIM, Xano, and Bitcoin OS. We actually talked about Bitcoin OS briefly on the last show or the one before, but the other two never even heard of them. So I can't say whether or not they're going to provide the privacy that Bitcoin lacks. But to address your more broad kind of general question, yes, I believe Bitcoin privacy is the biggest. Well, Bitcoin has two big problems in my opinion. Privacy is terrible unless you're willing to jump through lots of hoops, and mining centralization. Obviously, I'll leave the mining talk to John and Max on the mining show. But yeah, the privacy stuff is not great. We have the Lightning Network, but again, more hoops to jump through. We have cool things like silent payments that are being built out, but the crux of the public ledger and the UTXO model means that there's always going to be lots of hurdles, and it's always going to be, at least with what we know now, privacy is going to be obtained at the app level, like we had with Samurai. The problem with that is when you move it to the app layer, that creates lots of heads for three-letter agencies to target, as we've seen multiple times only in the last 12 months. So it leaves it wide open and severely kneecaps. That's why we're in the state that we're in right now, is because there seems to be not much of an appetite to do it at the blockchain level, which is the approach that Monero's taken with, obviously with trade-offs. But when you move it to the app layer, it centralizes things and it makes it much more difficult to achieve. So yeah, privacy is pretty bleak. Clearly you're abreast of some other alternatives or solutions that are, I hope, built on top of Bitcoin to introduce that. But in terms of the details of those, I've never even heard of them. So I'm not even going to try and surmise or guess as to what they're going to achieve.
Me too. And that's why, like Smoke said in our XMR chat thing, this dual coin approach, at least for spending, is something that I've been leaning into more. And a lot of people who maybe wouldn't be so vocal about it have been as well, just because we had a really, really fucking good tool with Whirlpool. We don't currently have it. Like you say, privacy on Bitcoin is bleak. It's very, very good for some things, not so good for privacy. I would just say maybe be slightly careful. If you really need privacy and it's important to you, maybe don't go to like unheard of projects that haven't really been vetted, that haven't really been around for a long time, or try and do anything like that's too clever and over your head, because you'll probably end up making mistakes. We always used to say, just keep it simple, just use Whirlpool. Currently, I would say just keep it simple, either spend with Lightning or spend with Monero. Don't get caught out, especially if it really, really matters.
Cosign. All right, mate. Anything else that you want to sign off with?
I don't think so. Just, again, a huge thank you to everyone who's been sending in messages. I checked the voicemails earlier. We didn't have any, but anyone who wants to send some for next episode, questions or updates or anything like that, that would be appreciated. And I'm going to get back to trying to fix my my node now.
Best of luck, sir. I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Chat soon, mate. I really hope you enjoyed that. And if you were listening properly at 1x speed, not one of these disgusting 2x or 2.5x listeners, you will have heard me and Q discussing my new show sponsors. I'm really excited about this one. As I said, these guys were right at the top of my list. Those of you who have been listening to this show for a while and care about privacy will have heard me speaking to Seth for privacy. He is now working with Cake Wallet, and they've been pushing some incredible features. Silent payments, you can use these on both Android and Mac because they have desktop and phone wallets. It's piss easy to use Monero and Bitcoin. I'm really excited to see what they do, so we'll keep you updated. But if you haven't already checked them out, go to cakewallet.com. You can download this from the App Store, Google Play, F-Droid, Android APK, macOS, Linux, or Windows. Your sport for choice, and thanks again to the Cake Wallet team for helping keep this show going. Thanks again to all the listeners, all the boosters, everyone in the XMR chat, and everyone who's been sending in questions. We really do appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Stay ungovernable.